Hello, and welcome to Tales from the Twists. My name is Joe Lewis, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Anthony Bull.
Hey Joe, how's it going?
I'm very well, thank you. So as you all know, Tales from the Twists is our podcast where we talk about Round the Twist, an 80s, 90s television show from Australia.
From Australia, okay.
Today we're talking about Wunderpants, the episode, which I believe is episode 8 of the first season.
Yes, that's correct. That is right.
Do you have any initial thoughts on Wunderpants?
Yeah, Wunderpants is the episode I keep saying that's the episode I like the most. That's my favourite episode. And then when I get clarification as to what the episode is, I remember it's not my favourite. Because I always confuse this one with the one where Bronson swallows a fish and his willy makes him fly, which is my favourite episode. And I thought that was this episode, but it's not.
Not to be confused with Pete's magic underpants that he puts on a frog.
Well, he puts on himself first. I mean, and then he's super powerful. I don't know. Either way, this episode was good, but it wasn't my favourite episode.
It's alright.
It's an alright episode.
So, Wunderpants, obviously a punny title. W Underpants.
Yes, that's what it is. Wunderpants.
Yes,
I did like that. I did like that Wunderpants.
Yeah, as opposed to WU.
Yeah.
Very funny, Paul Jennings. Thank you for that.
Well, did you see the title? The title screen was pretty kind of cool.
Yeah, so every episode, after the titles, the beginning titles with our theme song, we launch into a teaser scene, which we have our title for the episode, over a little scene that gives us an idea of what's in the episode to come. So this week, we had like a black screen, and a microwave sitting in the middle of nowhere, and a hand puts some underpants in the microwave, and electricity zaps the underpants, and they get all sparkly.
Yeah.
And then we get the word Wunderpants in the font is like a psychedelic hippie font.
Yeah. I like that episode. Like, I like when the I like that opening, because when you saw the pants go in the microwave, they kind of looked like a slice of pizza that you throw into a microwave to heat up.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the shape of an underpants, but the way it looked to me was like, it's like you're throwing a slice of pizza in the microwave to warm it up, but it's at their underpants.
It didn't look anything like pizza to me. It looked like underpants.
Well, you don't like pizza.
I do like pizza. I just don't think they look anything like underpants.
You don't like chicken pizza.
Chicken pizza is the least appetizing of all the pizzas.
Okay, if you're listening right now and you think that's just ridiculous, I mean, they charge extra for chicken for a reason, because it's better than,
It's not better.
It is better.
No, you're much better off having, like, mushrooms or...
Listeners, tell us which one you think is better. Chicken or...
pepperoni.
Non-chicken based pizzas.
Meat, salami, any of the above, chili... Any of that is better than having chicken.
We'll let the listeners decide.
No, I'll decide, and I'll tell the listeners.
Alright, yeah, you'll dictate to them like Hitler.
I will dictate.
You're a Hitler of pizza.
I'm not the Hitler of pizza. That title is reserved for the man in charge of Pizza Hut.
That's true, yeah.
So we start the episode, and Pete and Bronson are in bed. Bronson's bed, I believe, and they have a mouse.
Okay, yep, that's a good way. It's a good setup for their... you want to explain a little bit, Diva? Because, I mean, anyone would be like...
Well, they're lying on the bed and they have a mouse. Like, what else am I going to explain?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You just said that they're in bed.
Yeah, they're in bed.
Together. You said they were in bed
together. Well, they're lying on the bed.
Yeah, well, I guess, I don't know. With a mouse? I mean,
with a mouse.
And a frog, too, at one stage.
Well,
a frog, they get a frog out from underneath.
They have a mouse, and they're saying, this is a way to get back at the Gribbles. We want to win this race. And then Tony comes in, and Tony's looking for his toothbrush, and he says, have you guys seen my toothbrush? And Bronson says, have a look in the sink, Dad.
Why? Does he... Like, I know that he's really concerned about his toothbrush, but he's really mad. Like, he's going to be late for work mad. But he's an artist.
He's an artist.
He doesn't actually...
He's got things to do.
I know, but he's got work at home, mostly.
Yeah. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a lot to do.
I know he's got a lot to do. I'm not saying that. I mean, but I'm just saying that, like, chill out. You're not going to have a boss yell at you, but...
He's got artworks to do, man.
You know what I reckon?
He's a busy guy.
I reckon this is a carryover from last week's episode. Remember how we were talking about how, like, everyone had problems with their wish?
Yeah.
Right? But we didn't know what happened to Tony's date.
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon that Tony's date didn't end so well, right? And that's why he's mad the next day.
This is not the next day. This is probably a couple of weeks later.
That's my theory I'm going to go with. I'm going to say, the next day...
And that was all a dream anyway.
Yeah, well...
Or was it?
Was it? Well, remember, it's all a dream anyway inside Nell's head, so... Dream physics and all that.
Dream physics indeed. So Tony's looking for his toothbrush.
Yeah.
Bronson says, have a look in the sink, Dad. And Tony says, well, why would it be there? And
that's
then
where
leaves.
you brush your teeth.
That is indeed. They go back to their conversation. and there's a race coming up, apparently a frog race, organised by the Gribble children, and Bronson, under the bed, he has like a zoo of caged animals. He's got several boxes with holes in them, and he's got a caged rabbit. He also has a mouse. What's going on here?
There's a caged rabbit, really?
There's a caged rabbit under his bed.
I think that's the early... that's a veterinary... Someone who's interested in veterinary medicine or something, you know? Or it's, you know, the start of a serial killer.
He's got some problems here. We were talking last week, where did this rabbit come from? He had a rabbit and they took it to school.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
So
like, where did this rabbit come from?
There must be, like...
Under his bed, apparently.
Ah, okay. Well, then Pete probably knows about his rabbit under the bed. Because remember, that was in Pete's dream, too?
Well, that whole episode... It's hard to work out how that episode fits into the rest of the series as canon.
Yeah.
Like, what events actually happened there.
Yeah.
Because, like we said last week, if you're not aware of last week's episode, we were talking about the Christmas episode where Santa Claus comes and grants them wishes and Pete gets a really small mouth.
Yeah.
Everything that happened in that episode could be considered actually canon. It didn't have to be part of a dream.
Yeah.
Because it's not weirder than anything else that happened in this series.
But it also allows for, like, secret knowledge that, like, Pete would know something so that they could bring the rabbit to school and Tony would see the rabbit, but then Tony doesn't necessarily know about it in future scenes, because if Pete only knows about it, then in his dream, he could just imagine that they're bringing it into school and it would be perfectly fine.
But it is not entirely unreasonable that Bronson would be a serial killer. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Going back to the Cabbage Patch episode.
Yeah, that's right. He nearly killed a baby.
Bronson nearly kills his own son.
And he didn't kill the baby, like, in a nice, polite... polite. I don't know how you can kill a baby politely. Okay, murder...
Well, you could have manners about it.
Well, not manner. You can do it efficiently and quickly, okay? There's a giant cliff.
I'm terribly sorry
of all the things that they could do. I'm terribly sorry, but I must murder you. There's a cliff, there's the option, boom.
Yep.
No, he just puts it down. Yep, he just puts it down in the garden and just watches it asphyxiate.
Yep, watches it suffocate to death.
Yep.
So it's not that far of a leap to suggest that Bronson is raising these animals to kill.
Well, yeah, he might be, like, wanting to do experiments on, like, he might think they're really cute and stuff, and then be like, I wonder how they work, and so they kill them.
I wonder if they... Like, in Bates Motel...
Yeah.
Which is, like, the prequel... Oh, yeah, prequel-esque...
To Psycho.
Yeah, to Psycho. It's like a TV series, a modern TV series that has taken the prequel adaptation of Psycho, the famous Hitchcock movie, and you watch Norman Bates develop, and one of the things that he does is taxidermy. He's like, he becomes friends with this taxidermist and becomes obsessed with taking animals apart, which is a key thing in the life of most serial killers, right? They experiment by hurting and...
It's like the Chesapeake Ripper in Hannibal. He's like a taxidermist as well. Or at least,
is he?
I know Hannibal's supposed to be the Ripper, right? But, like, for the most of season 2, he's a taxidermist. There's a taxidermist guy.
Hannibal?
No. The guy who gets framed for the crime. That isn't Will. Some other guy. There's this taxidermist guy who goes around killing people. Yeah. So being a taxidermist, I guess, may make you a serial killer? Or is, not make you one, it's more, serial killers probably prefer to be taxidermists?
Well, I think you'd be more likely to be a taxidermist if you're a serial killer than not.
Yeah, true.
So in a survey of serial killers, how many of them are taxidermists compared to normal people? How many of them are serial killers?
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, probably one. I don't know.
One what?
One person's a taxidermist.
Is taxidermy even still a valid career choice?
Well, of course it is. People get, like, taxidermy, though, like, I think it's like... I remember watching some... Oh, God, it was like one of those porn stars, like, shows, but it was like that taxidermy.
To clarify, you're talking about...
The,
Pawn shop episode?
Pawn shop.
Like,
yeah.
Not other type of porn
star show.
P-A-W-N.
Yes,
not
P-O-R-N.
Yes.
Just like how I say, I'm watching hardcore porn. And, you know, actually I'd rather watch hardcore porn than hardcore porn. Okay?
Now, to clarify...
I mean, I'd rather...
Which would you rather watch?
Well, I think hardcore porn, the porn show, is the worst show I've ever seen in my life.
P-A-W-N?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's just trash. It's trashy as all hell. So I'd rather watch anything that.
Yep.
So, anyway. Apparently, people who are really emotionally attached to their animals... get their animals when they die taxidermied.
A little weird.
Well, like, it's whatever, man. I mean, hunting isn't as in fashion anymore as much as it used to be. So, you know, you taxidermy a pet that's been with you for 15 years through your life struggles or whatever. Why not?
It's still weird, though.
Well, burying people in the ground is weird. Okay, we have a whole ceremony for it.
What are you going to do with them? They've got diseases. Dead bodies have diseases.
Yeah, but it's an orchestrated. It's an orchestrated.
Bury them.
It's an orchestrated ceremony. You know, that's all pre-planned.
It's not that weird.
I mean, it's not weird, but I mean, like, a funeral is usually like, oh, what's going to happen at such and such funeral?
Yeah.
But a funeral is for the living and not for the dead.
Yeah.
But we still view it from the lens that, you know, Paul would have loved this. John would have loved this. You know, as if that's to keep his memory alive. So it is a little weird, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a funeral, but...
Burying people, considerably less weird than having someone stuffed.
I don't know.
If you taxidermied a human, that would be a lot weirder than burying them in the ground.
Well, I don't know. The Russians did it.
Did they?
Yeah, they did it to Lenin.
Really?
He's like... I don't know if he's still there, but... And Mao Zedong, he was sort of stuffed, like... He's embalmed and he's preserved in like a crystal chamber in his palace.
I'm talking embalmed as in like mummies.
No. Embalmed as in like literally it's some form of taxidermy, but like it's embalming fluid and all that stuff to keep the body preserved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. They've been taxidermies.
Mummification.
Yeah. Well, no, but like when we talk about mummy, we're talking about something different.
That was embalming to keep it preserved.
But when someone says mummy, they think, oh, mummy, bloody tissue paper on the arms, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Like, this is them, you know, alive and well. Well, not alive and well, bloody... They look like they were when they're alive.
So it's more like taxidermy than it is...
Yeah, it's way more like taxidermy. And it's like, they're put on display because then they raise them up as gods, kind of.
Okay.
Because you have a cult of personality behind their leaders. Yep. So you put them there and it's like, oh, he would have wanted this. And then as long as you keep the idol there, people are more likely to follow.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Elongated tangent there.
Well, you know, people need to learn about taxidermy.
Taxidermy, interesting subject.
If you're a taxidermist, write in and tell us how interesting it is.
Not as interesting.
Do not send us pictures. We do not want to see any pictures.
Well, you can send us pictures if you want. We're probably not going to look
at them. Of
them.
the finished products only. I don't really want to see the guts
Why not?
And everything.
It's not interesting to look at?
No. Like, yeah, okay, maybe. But it's like, it'd be called something like Image 1. It wouldn't be called Guts of a Dog.
Yeah.
So you click on it and go, oh, that's what that was. Oh, God. That's disgusting. Oh, my gosh. And then you look down at your plate of food and you're like, wow, now they look similar.
Why are you eating while you're looking at pictures of taxidermy?
What else are you going to do?
Are you constantly eating?
Who isn't?
Me. I'm not constantly eating.
I'm not always eating, but I'm eating sometimes when I'm at the computer. I'm a busy man. I've got things to do. I've got a hand to eat and I've got a hand to click.
Gribble is having a race, a frog race. Bronson reaches under his bed and pulls out his frog, Loopy Leaper. Mm-hmm. So don't let Dad know because we'll get in trouble for having animals in the house.
Yeah.
So assumably the Tony Twist, the father of the Twist family, doesn't know that Bronson has a zoo under his bed. So it's the next day, they're eating breakfast, everyone's in their pajamas for some reason still, and Pete, Linda, and Bronson...
I think it's just to convey that...
It's morning.
It's morning, yeah.
But, like, if you had one or two of them in pajamas, they're all in their pajamas.
Well, I don't know, they're kids.
Even when the dad comes down the stairs, he's in his pajamas as well.
Well, I don't know, it's early morning then. It's like, they're not in a rush.
Well, they're like halfway through breakfast.
Yeah, well, I mean, you eat breakfast first, right?
Well, it depends on your schedule. You might eat breakfast last.
You gotta brush your teeth, right?
Well, you could eat breakfast and then brush your teeth.
Yeah, I don't know, you get changed afterwards. Have a shower. You're in the same room, I mean, might as well.
I don't know. So Bronson, they're talking about the race again, and the frog's on the table, and it's not moving, it's going really slow, and they're concerned about its potential to win the race.
Yeah.
The dad comes down the stairs, and he's really angry that he's missing his toothbrush, and Bronson says, alright, listen, if you confess to something, does that mean you're in less trouble than...
Sorry, you finished that, but...
Yeah, if you confess to something, you're generally punished less than if somebody finds out. Yeah. So he's trying to make a plea bargain here. And the dad's like, yeah, whatever. And he said, I've been using the brush to brush my mouse. And the dad says, why don't you use your own? And he said, no, not my mouth.
My mouse.
My mouse. Yeah, and the dad flips out. He goes crazy. A little bit melodramatic here.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Tony Twist, I've forgotten his name, he's quite good, but he was hamming it up a bit.
He was like, we need you in the scene to be really mad.
Yeah, he's just like, forget it, I'll just... I'm mad. And he's like, you can get diseases, mice are filthy animals.
It's weird, because it seems like such a change from like what he normally is. And I mean,
he's always a crazy guy.
He's crazy, but I didn't think he would view like all animals as gross. He's seen a lot of weird stuff.
You could say that the animals are not gross, but would you want to put a not gross animal's hair in your mouth?
Yeah, but you wouldn't be like, they carry disease and I'm mad. I'm your father. Make sure you do
thinks he
your
has like
things.
some sort of rabies or something.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, but It doesn't have to be rabies. It could be some sort of disease carried
like the
by
Black
an animal.
Death or
Yeah, the
something.
Black Death.
I guess so.
Famously carried by rodents,
I don't know.
apparently. Or the fleas that were on the rodents.
Yeah, well, on the yeah, man.
Yeah, what's he got in his mouth now? He might have a disease.
Well,
anyway, he gets really
fine.
angry,
Yeah.
tries to wash out his mouth. Then Linda is not really paying attention to what she's doing.
Yeah.
Loopy Leaper has jumped into her breakfast cereal, and she's about to take a bite of breakfast cereal, but realizes that Loopy Leaper is on the spoon right before she eats it, and then everyone flips out again.
I don't know why they put the frog in the middle of the table when they're all eating food.
Because they were trying to see how fast it could go.
Yeah, but frogs leap. They're not like mice. Like mice walk, so you could probably get away with that.
Yes.
But like a leap, you have no idea exactly where it's going to leap. I like to think of it more like, you know, when you're playing chess,
Yep.
and you have a knight and he can leap to the left or leap to the right.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, except you don't know where he's going to leap to, right? So how can you not expect an animal to be like, oh, look, there's a bowl there. I've seen, like, water. Maybe there's water there. I'm going to go jump in. Not,
Clearly not the smartest of children.
Then
Frog race,
not.
had they thought this through, they probably would have chosen a different animal other than a frog to have a race.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I mean, maybe they couldn't have had that big of an animal because, like, I don't know, they're not allowed to get other animals, or it'd be really weird. They had they could have a mouse race, but could you have a dog? You could have a dog race, I guess. But then PETA members would be like, oh, that's stretching it a bit, guys.
Why is a frog race any more different
Because
to a frog race?
why is a frog
dogs.
race any more different to a no.
What's the difference between frog race and dog race?
Frog race and dog race?
Dog race is an actual thing. You can go and see that.
Oh yeah, it's true. They got greyhounds. I don't know. I guess so. Maybe they needed something that could eat the smaller one. So it needed to
Dogs
be a
could
frog.
do that.
Yeah, dogs could do that, and then that would definitely piss off some PETA members. They'd be like, wow, okay,
But
that
still,
is
what's
too
the
far.
difference between a frog eating another frog and a dog eating another
how about
dog?
this? How about this? If you say, hey, I've got a dog. It's my pet, and I love him, and I took him out for a walk, all right? People would go, oh, that's nice. Oh, okay, cool.
The
And a
kids-
dog. What happens if you say, I've got a frog? He's my pet, and I love him, and I took him out for a walk. You'd be like, frogs aren't pets.
The kids in this
mate.
animal, they love their frogs.
Yeah. You know.
They're pretty devastated
Well,
at
yeah.
the events of the end of the episode.
I guess so. I mean, okay, maybe they should have just gone with a ferret then.
That they couldn't afford ferrets.
Well, there you go. Then they shouldn't have been racing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Didn't
Yeah.
end well, did it?
Well, frog race, though not the worst of things, is probably illegal, right? Could you get away with that?
Well, no, because don't they have cane toad races?
Do they?
Yeah, I thought so. Like I've heard that cane toad
Nobody
races
actually
exist,
cares about cane toads.
which is true. But I mean, it's
Like,
just-
people kill them for fun.
I know. Like, so why didn't they have a cane toad race? I know that there's a cane toad in the frog race coming up.
Yes.
But why they didn't have a cane
spoiling
toad?
it again.
I know that I'm spoiling it. I'm sorry, but they should have done that. But is a cane toads in Victoria?
I don't know, I assume so.
I don't know. I know it's a Queensland thing, but
We got a lot up here.
we got a lot up here, and that's why we do it. But I'm not sure about down in Melbourne.
Well, like they say
Victoria.
later in the episode, it's probably not that great because there's no humidity.
Ah, true.
Up here, there's a lot of humidity, so they
Tell
run
me
around.
about it.
and-
You know. Anyway,
What was your favourite method of killing a cane toad as a kid?
favorite
If
method.
you're offended, stop listening.
I don't know. It was a cricket bats, I guess. They had
Cricket bats?
Yeah, I didn't really like killing cane toads.
Oh yeah, you're just smooching up.
No, I didn't like it because I didn't like the idea of like smashing and like having all the guts and stuff and the pus.
It's pretty gross.
Like,
Like,
and
they
it's
go
a poison.
everywhere.
The pus is poison, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really want it on my face or my eyes. Like, but I know that you can I think you can grab them and freeze them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was kind of cool.
People that we knew used
You
to...
pour- you pour
put them-
salt on them
You put them
or
in a
something?
plastic bag. Well, one method is you put them in a plastic bag. You scoop them up in a plastic bag while they're still alive. You tie it up and put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
You leave them there. And then once they're frozen, you shatter them.
It's fucking. This is horrible. Like, we're talking about how future serial killers, and we're reliving our youth. And we're
this
just like,
was one of the accepted ways of killing with them because it's not as... It was apparently more humane. You freeze them and then you shatter them.
that is so not even close.
The one
to
that we used to do as kids was salt them.
Yeah,
You put salt on them and they
they're
boil-
cold-blooded.
they bubble up.
They are cold-blooded, so I mean, like, if you did freeze them, it probably is more humane.
Yep. And the other one was like you get
Cricket
golf
bats.
clubs.
Golf
Golf
clubs,
club
yeah.
was the best because you can like use it as like an axe head.
Yeah.
And like really get it
like
in
a
there.
3-iron or something.
Yeah, you.
The thing was,
smack
like,
them with it.
most
and it
people
really,
didn't
like,
have
punches.
golf clubs. They had the cricket. The reason why we used cricket bats is because that was like the most common thing most people had.
sticks. Yeah, everyone has a cricket bat lying around or a stick.
Yeah.
There's another one as well. Wasn't there another classic method? Oh, you'd hit them. That was the thing. You'd go and you'd line up and you hit them with the golf club like you're actually taking a swing.
Yeah, you take a swing
ball.
at them. Yeah. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Also, you can run them down in your truck or your car.
You could do that.
But I also don't understand
Not
that.
advised.
You have a nice car. Why do you want to just make it worse? Like,
also,
guts everywhere.
It's pretty dangerous to be swerving around on the road trying to hit animals.
Yeah, and also it's kind of a little messed up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to purposely go and murder that animal. Like,
Just to be clear, Tales from the Twists, we do not condone violence against animals of any sort.
unless you're going to eat them.
Unless you're going to eat them.
In which case, it's like, okay, I know it's such a problem. And then you should probably do it and quickly and humanely.
And if you do want to kill a cane toad, don't get it on your hands.
Otherwise, you're going to
clean it up. Be careful of your pets.
And make sure you don't rub your eyes afterwards. Or
if you have dogs, make sure you clean it all up because
dogs will eat anything. Right?
Dogs will, and they can become addicted to eating cane toads. It's like a
crack.
Yeah, it's kind of like a drug.
Crack for
they go crazy. They like foam from the mouth, and they get addicted to it. Like hypes them up and stuff.
That makes
and
sense.
if they eat too many, they can die because it's like a poison.
It is a poison, yeah.
Yeah. Back to the episode again.
Sure.
The dad finds out it was Pete and Bronson that had the frog and the mouse, and he sentenced them to washing up for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty harsh
He's not going to
punishment.
remember that.
He's not going to remember. Pete's underpants are still wet. He's getting ready for school. He's up on the roof of the lighthouse, so he's pretty high up.
Mm-hmm.
The music begins to sound, the creepy music that we hear every episode.
Yeah.
No, Nell's not around.
Yeah, Nell's not around, guys.
Which she used, there was a point in the episode where she would be present in every episode. But another point about Nell...
She's in a coma.
She's not actually in this episode, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
don't think
First
she was.
episode, she's not in.
Yeah, that's a shame. She's like my favourite character. But that's
Well, it's good when she's in it because we can speculate about...
Yeah.
She's easier to create weird theories about.
Yeah, and it's actually the first time I think they checked the room where the music was playing from.
Yeah, so Pete goes in the room while the music's playing. He opens the door, the music stops, and there's some instruments covered in dust lying on some tables. So jazz band, brass instruments, like a saxophone and a...
Yeah.
Is there a trumpet?
I don't know. I just saw a random assortment of things.
Yeah.
So I didn't really make out any of the instruments that were there.
Pete's trying to get his pants ready because they're still wet, and the dad's saying, "We're leaving, mate, we're leaving, hurry up." Pete runs downstairs, he puts his underpants in the microwave and tries to heat them up. Probably not advised.
Have you ever done that?
No.
After seeing this episode, I have done that before.
You have?
Yeah.
I would not advise doing that.
It doesn't really work.
Yeah, because it's radiation. You're pumping radiation through it.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, man. It's still radiation that heats. It's supposed to excite the water molecules in the the food, or in this case.
It up, yeah.
So that's not so bad. I mean, with the dryer, it's a radiating heat that's you're basically spinning.
The problem with heating up your underpants, right?
The problem is it's full of water. That's the problem with it. It hasn't been wrung out. If it's been wrung out, then you can heat it up. Yeah. That's like the tumble dryer. Like, it won't work if you've got too wet clothes because it's just going to spin those wet clothes around and create like a steamy furnace or sauna style thing. So I've tried doing it because when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'll be like round the twist, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll be able to fly. Remember? Because I thought it was my favorite episode. I thought I'll have a willy, that'll make me fly. Okay. Doesn't work. It just leaves you with hot, wet underpants. Yeah,
the problem with doing this, right? Sometimes when you heat something up in the microwave, when you pull them out, it gets hotter.
Yeah.
Because of the way that the radiation and stuff works.
Yeah.
So because like the things are vibrating.
Yeah.
Is that right? The molecules
the electrons are vibrating.
Everything's buzzing around. If
it knocks off electrons or something off the water molecules.
Like Pete does. If you put these underpants on immediately...
It's going to burn your dick.
Yeah, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, that's not advised. And was he wearing Speedos? Were they underpants?
Well, there's these... The underpants of the episode, they're weird to begin with before it even heats them up. They're like these... Like we said in the titles, the font was this weird psychedelic colory thing, lots of fluoro colours. That's the colours of these underpants. They look more like togs than they do actual underpants.
Yeah.
And not like briefs either.
And they were very weird underpants too because they were psychedelic.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know many kids who go and buy that. Or have that bought for them, I guess.
It's weird that he owns them. Maybe they were Linda's or something.
That's very confident. That's a very confident person.
Oh, who's going to see them? What does it matter?
Well, let's say they're swimmers, okay? Because, remember, he's like, I'll see you at the beach, right?
Yeah.
So I have to imagine that maybe...
You don't wear your togs underneath your pants unless you're planning on swimming. He was only planning on swimming once he realised that he could swim really fast. But we'll get to that.
Ah.
The dad's leaving. Hurry up, Pete. Quick, hurry up. He tries to heat up his underpants, and they get all sparkly, and he puts them on. And then he goes outside, he slams the door, and there's a big crack in the side of the lighthouse because he's so strong that he
Yeah.
slams the door and it makes a big crack. Probably not ideal. It was a pretty big crack. Went nearly all the way to the top.
Like your dad's going to be so mad. He'd be like, what is this? What happened? Oh, no. Actually, you know what? If Gribble was there,
Yeah.
Gribble would be like, hey, see
Yep.
this house?
Oh,
It's
what's
cracked.
going on here?
I think this is a housing code violation. And 2,
Yeah.
1 crack means there's going to be more cracks. Let me buy it off you.
Yeah, I'll buy it
properly.
off you real cheap. We'll get something done.
But, Tony would be like, oh, it's some artistic statement about,
Probably.
I don't know, the decay of Western civilization.
The Twist kids, Bronson, Pete, and Linda, are waiting for the bus. Bronson and a random extra are throwing rocks out to sea. Pete...
Were they trying to skim it, or just
I don't know. Well, they were too high to be trying to skim it. They were on like a cliff or something.
Yeah, I guess so. They were pretty high.
Pete has got some itching or something going down in his pants, which I would imagine he would, putting on semi-wet underpants and just put in the microwave.
Yeah.
He's looking down, and Pete and Fiona look at him. They're like, "What's going on there, mate?" And he goes, "My underpants. they feel tingly. I'm just checking." And they're like,
They feel
"Oh,
hot and tingly."
okay."
While he's looking
he
at Fiona.
said tingly. He didn't say.
No, he
felt
said
hot.
feel hot and tingly. I heard hot and tingly. That's
I don't
what
know
heard.
if he said hot
He
and
said,
tingly.
he goes, they're all hot and they're all hot and tingly, and I was like,
I think I wrote down just tingly.
I'm pretty sure they said they're all hot and tingly, and then Fiona and what's her name, Linda were like, what?
Yeah. So a little bit suggestive.
Very suggestive.
When you're going through puberty, you often feel tingles and itches in your genital area.
It's totally normal, apparently.
It's part of growing up.
I guess.
So
yeah. Could you say this whole episode is a...
yeah,
I was
well,
like,
that's what
I was
about to
leaning
say.
into that, but then I thought... Because I think
It gets a bit weird.
It does. It must be like... Is it 2 episodes? Like 2 stories combined in one, I think?
Probably.
It felt like it was, because I was like...
Most of these are.
Yeah, it
Or
felt
some
like...
of them are.
The Wunderpants was definitely felt like a teenage story of like...
Yeah.
Is it a hero? What's it? I wrote this down.
The hero's journey.
Power... No, it's sort of like a power fantasy of like... growing up as a teenager, being a bit of an outcast,
Yeah, so
being stronger and
when
tougher.
you're young, you often feel powerless.
Yeah.
And then you dream of being an adult when you could do all these cool things.
Yeah.
So, when I'm big, like Bronson in last week's episode, I just want to be bigger than Pete so he won't push me around anymore.
Yeah.
Pete is probably like, we don't get anything. Oh, he's worried about the Gribbles because they always pick on them. We mentioned that. And this is his chance to get back at them.
Yeah.
And so this magical thing happens to him and suddenly it's like, yeah, like I can...
So he started going through puberty.
Back at
Yeah.
them.
But then it's like, of course, he has some mishaps, which is just like in puberty because,
Terrible things constantly happen to you.
Yeah, when you go through puberty. But we're talking to an audience of people who've already gone through puberty. So they're like, yeah, I know what that's like. Oh, man.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
I don't know.
I'd like to forget all of my childhood and teenage years. And my adulthood as well. Actually, I'd rather just forget everything.
I just forget it all. I'm perfectly happy with my childhood, though. But that's fine.
Your childhood.
Yeah, and my teenage years.
Watching a sheep strangle itself.
Yeah, that was fucked up, wasn't it? Jesus.
So the bus arrives, and Pete throws a rock at a pole as he goes to get on the bus, and he goes straight through it. He's so strong that the rock goes straight through the wooden thing, and wooden pole. And he thinks to himself, he goes, pretty cool.
There wasn't product placement, was it? Because remember, this was on the Channel 7 network. Because, like, on top of the pole
there
was a Schweppes can.
Was there Schweppes?
It was Schweppes, and the logo was pretty well seen. Like,
No, it was probably product placement.
I have to imagine, maybe it was.
Maybe they just...
Because, like, Schweppes probably...
there.
Well, I don't know, Schweppes might have been, like, sponsored the show.
I don't know, maybe it was
back in
just...
its infancy.
Maybe it was just a thing where they needed a can, they just bought one from the shop and put it on
Remember,
there.
it could be Schweppes, but it could have been Kirk's, right?
Yeah.
That's the other Australian brand, right?
Well, the Australian brand.
Yeah. And usually, though, when you have a logo on... You do sort of need permission to have it there.
But this was 89. This was 1989.
Yeah.
So I would assume, maybe they were a bit, blasé about these things.
I don't know. Maybe.
On the bus, Tiger, the little one. Yeah, Tiger's the little one.
I keep thinking Rabbit's the little
Gribble
one.
friend. He's like an amateur commentator. He's spruiking for the race. Oh, come on, guys! The frog contests tonight. Come and see the frogs race. We've got some interesting things to look at. Linda and Fiona are not interested at all.
Of course they're not.
Of course they're not. They're like, oh, it's a bit childish, isn't it? Bit of a frog race.
Oppression of the frogs.
Oppression. Well, the thing was, they say it's childish, but they don't say, oh, it's animal abuse.
Yeah, but
You think that would be easy? for them to say.
Because remember they said only pigs. Oh, I guess they're not really animal abuse. They are sort of, but like
But
even
they're activists. They're general
activists. They will,
lefty pinko commie activists.
they
love to activate.
They love to activate things.
They love to activate anything that needs activating.
Boycott detected. But they're there. They turn up.
Yeah, well, they turn up. They always turn up.
That's very hypocritical. It's incredibly hypocritical. They've done this so many times. It's like,
So
we're
many
going to
times.
boycott this.
Whenever
we'll pay and we'll be there.
Whenever something interesting is going to happen,
Yeah.
they always say, "Oh, we're not interested because this reason," and then they end up showing up anyway.
Kind of like Facebook.
Slacktivism.
Slacktivism. Oh, shame on you, shame on you. And then they show up and they use their products, and I'm like, bruh, what the hell? I thought you were boycotting. Nah, I just don't agree with them.
Shame on you, insert right-wing politician here. Click share to join our activism.
Obama. Thanks, Obama.
Obama's left-wing.
Yeah, I know, but let's be a little bit fair, guys. Come on. People don't like Obama.
Yeah, well, they don't like Obama. I don't know why.
But they really don't like Obama. I think it's like this.
But we don't have to put up with them here.
I don't know. He's probably. I think it's because he doesn't have many. Been very. I want to say weak. A lot weaker than what people expect because of the Republican. But it's because of the Republican-controlled Senate as well. We were like
a lot of power.
Well, yeah, because the Republican are like they want to veto some of the things he does, and also so he loses support on the right already.
Yeah.
But on the left, like when that Snowden stuff came out, he hasn't shut down Guantanamo Bay. He's done I guess he's done that. So it's like people on the left are like the things you said you would do, and also you're acting a little bit like George Bush. We didn't expect that out of a left-wing president. We expect a left-wing president to be a little less spy-y and more friendly. You know,
friendly.
Yeah.
Hey man.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I think that's why they hate him, because like the right hate him already, and the left have lost support.
Most.
In fact, there's the point where like Democratic candidates in states in America have told Obama to not show up at his campaign rallies because
people hate him so much.
Yeah, hate him so much that it will make the candidate look bad.
Yeah,
and it's like,
well, that happens more than you think it would.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, I don't know. I guess it might happen with Tony Abbott.
The whole Obama situation,
or even Campbell Newman.
Yeah, they've like he doesn't. Yeah. Because if you're Campbell Newman's Queensland, right?
Yeah. Is he Queensland? There's an election. There is an election in 2 weeks.
I always get him mixed up with Tony Abbott because they're basically the same person. They look exactly the same.
One looks good in a Speedo.
What? Neither of them look good in a Speedo.
Well, the only thing I know for sure that I think I could say, but it's a positive thing about Tony Abbott is that I know for sure is that he is probably our most athletic and healthiest prime minister.
What are you talking about? John Howard used to do his walk.
He used to do a walk. Okay, Tony Abbott does marathons. Okay, so not marathons, he does triathlons.
What are you trying to say about walking?
I'm trying to say
about walking.
Walking's fine and all, but like, I mean, he's pretty fit for an old prime minister.
If you could marathon,
he does cycling as well or something.
Yeah, well, triathlon, whatever. Triathlon once every month.
He goes out for a morning bike ride.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, does he do the bike ride every morning?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. I think he does it every morning.
Trumps, I mean, Howard's walking.
Howard's pretty old, though.
Howard was old when he was in.
And it's...
Especially when we were, like, old enough to be aware of the news.
A walk is probably better for a politician than a ride, because a walk you can meet meet constituents of your electorate.
The thing about the walk was, it was like keeping his image of being both
young,
healthy.
Yeah.
It was, he's not in his ivory tower or whatever. He's out on the street every day. So... Like you were saying, constituents could come up and speak to him, but also reporters could come and get a comment. And they would every day. They'd always get their comment from Howard, even if it was short or whatever, but it'd always be approachable for that kind of thing.
The thing is, if you're on a bike ride, you can't
you can't
do
stop.
that.
And a lot of prime ministers...
Sort of did that.
Not all... like leaders. A lot of leaders often become kind of put away from public image because they're not always available for comment. Yeah. Like, they do their press release, like, whenever, but... Being there every day kind of always had him in your mind, because you turn on the morning news in the morning before you'd put on...
And Chasers too would be there as well.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, when we were kids, when you put on...
Yeah.
What was it called? Like Cheese TV?
Yeah, Cheese TV.
On the other channel, there'd be a clip interviewing John Howard. Oh, what do you think of this that happened yesterday?
Yeah.
And he'd say his one sentence, and it's like, it's our Prime Minister.
Well, I mean, and it would be tough to maintain a walking schedule too, because like you're a busy man, you're a busy guy, you have to go walk out every day, and if you're walking, you're probably going to get a lot of hate too.
But I think it worked for him.
It was a thing he could do, and I think Kevin Rudd was like really pissed because like he couldn't do it then, because then he looks like John Howard doing it. It's like damn, that was a good idea.
John Howard, like everyone liked him. even towards
Everybody
the end.
liked him.
Most people liked him, even towards
Everybody
the end.
liked him.
A lot
I don't
of people
think
did.
so.
He was in
Everybody,
recent memory.
everybody from the
he was
from
a
his-
lot more.
Everybody who voted, or everyone who would classify themselves, I guess, as right wing, liked him.
But
That's a
even
fair
the
statement.
left didn't have that many problems with him. Like there were the boat people, and there was GST.
That was that. It
But
was like
he was fairly liked. He was
my
a
comparison probably to
well-liked
Tony
guy.
Abbott. Tony Abbott,
Yeah.
yes. But that being said, I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say that everybody on the left or everybody in general liked him.
No, but he's a lot more liked than, like, say, for example, Kevin Rudd was by everyone. Like,
Well,
even the left didn't like
everybody liked Kevin Rudd right at the start, right?
Yeah.
He was
But
like the fresh face
yeah.
of thing, and then the acting.
Tony Abbott's probably a better example, right wing.
Yeah.
Everyone hates him. Even the right hate him.
Yeah, well, that's because like I don't really know. Maybe
It's
he's
because
too
he's
tough.
weak. Not only did he try and do all these crazy things that annoyed the left, but he came off really weak, which annoyed the right.
Yeah.
But most, like we were saying before with Obama, like it happens all around the world. All these Western leaders are
Yeah.
quite weak.
Yeah.
Like this is why guys like Putin
Yeah.
have such like control over their countries. It's like even though you might not agree with everything that he does, but it's like this is a strong leader that we can get behind.
Sure, I guess so, but I mean,
That's
if you're not,
that's the main appeal.
that's
of Putin,
that's the main
right?
appeal of Putin. Yeah, I guess
He's like strong.
That's why he's always taking the
He
PR
cares about
stance.
the country, and he's always going to do what's right for the country, even if it annoys other countries.
I don't know if you could say that about Putin or even anybody. Like
More so than our leaders. Our leaders are not hardly ever going to do what's right for our country if it's going to annoy another country. Like they're always going to do what's in the interest of the bigger, more powerful countries.
Yeah.
Russia doesn't care.
well, Russia needs to though. Russia needs to do what
yeah,
it
and that's
needs
why
to do.
Putin's good for Russia.
Well, the thing is, like Australia needs to follow the lead of a powerful nation. It needs to still heal because it needs if it say it pisses off China, right? That's
Yeah.
our major trading partner.
Yeah.
It still needs China needs
But
us kind of, but we need China probably a little bit more, and we need America's military alliance because we're scared of China.
That may be so, but there's still a level of appearing strong,
Yeah.
to your country. You
But
need to
in his
appear
defense,
strong.
though, in defense of Tony Abbott,
Yeah.
the Senate is not within his control, so it's really tough to get anything
that's
through.
true. It's not about legislation though. It's more about appearance.
Yeah.
Like every time you see Tony Abbott on TV, he's always like sweaty and he's always like, he's like flubbing his
if
words
he
and
ca- if he
stuff.
came off-
Putin is never sweaty. Putin,
It's true. If he never came
Yeah.
off, if he came off a lot stronger, though,
Yeah.
he could be perceived like how Cameron Newman is, which is
like a dictator.
incredibly arrogant.
No, but there's a difference between arrogance and strong leadership.
There is, but it's a fine line, and like if you don't get it right,
Like Putin could be classified as both.
Putin is totally
But-
arrogant.
But in opposition to that, Newman just comes off as arrogant. He doesn't come off as strong.
Probably
He
because
comes
it's
off
probably
as,
because
like, weak and
Newman
arrogant.
probably doesn't have a lot of power in the grand scheme of things for a
No, but
national
I
level.
don't think power is necessary to come off as being strong. Like, I think power is all an illusion.
Yeah.
And it's all about, like, small things that you're doing, not the big things that you're doing. Like, you could be completely ineffective, but you could be coming off as a really strong leader. Anyway,
Anyway, we better get back to
we should get back to the episode. The Gribbles have children. The Gribbles do not have children. The Gribbles are children, and they have a frog.
Yes.
A frog
Yeah.
called Mucka. And they're going, Mucka's going to win. Mucka's going to win the frog race tonight. Mucka, Mucka, Mucka. And then the opposition,
Yeah.
the Twists, they're claiming that Loopy Leaper, I wrote it down wrong. Loopy Leaper is going to beat him. Mm-hmm. And the bus driver starts getting mad because they're distracting him by all this chanting. As you would, you're trying to do a job, these kids being crazy. And then he goes off the road and gets the bus stuck in some mud or something.
Yeah.
It's not really clear. We have a shot of the bus being stuck, but you can't really tell what's wrong with it. So Pete has the bus sort of crashes a bit, and Pete looks down in his hand. He was still carrying some of the rocks that he was throwing, and the rocks have been crushed to sand. And so Pete goes, I see what's going on here. He gets up out of the bus and then picks up the bus and puts it back on the road.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Good
That's
on you,
pretty
Pete.
cool.
But
Yeah.
nobody notices. He does a Superman.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to care.
It was exactly like Superman. What's his name in the newest Superman? What's that one called?
Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's exactly the same in Man of Steel.
It's not exactly the same.
Pretty damn similar.
He doesn't
He's
get out of the bus underwater and push the bus up
True,
into the
it's
air.
true, but it's basically the bus is teetering in some direction. Like he's not teetering over a cliff, which is what I expected. But
Yeah.
he lifts the bus and he's like, "Oh, look, I'm so strong."
Yeah.
I do like the bus driver though. The bus driver's like, "Oh, you kids, be quiet back there." Because did you ever have that? You called the bus, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a bus driver like that?
Our bus driver was really weird, though.
At stages, like, we had a bus driver that would be like, "Are you like, kids, be quiet back there?" And it's like, look at the road. Look at the road. Love of God, look at the road. Stop looking back at us.
I was a bus monitor.
So was I.
And our bus driver made up, like, secret passwords to tell us, like, instructions. He would, like, have passwords that he would, like, call out and would mean that would have to do random stuff. And I would always forget, like, what they were. And it's like...
Murder people? You want me to murder these students?
No, but it was something like, the kids are in the sandbox meant to, like, check that people were sitting down or something. It was weird.
Kids are in the sandbox.
It was kind of
the
a
desert
weird
foxes
thing.
in the platoon.
Yeah. There was all these weird things I could never
Echo 3
remember.
Alpha.
Pete's
Our
outside
bus
the
driver,
bus.
sorry. I just want to talk about that. My bus driver just didn't really care. He was the best. Alright, he was just like, there was one time that we got egg with eggs, right? Yeah, he was like, he just starts trying to chase them down. His kids down. His kids threw eggs at us, and he just turns the bus and starts trying to chase them down this cul-de-sac.
Pete's outside the bus and he's checking his pants. And Linda looks outside and she goes, "Yep, still there." So they're at school. The Twists have shown up at school and they're getting, well, at least Pete is getting changed with the other students in his class, and Snapper's in the change room with them.
Yep, a little weird. But...
Yeah, a bit weird. And he's telling them, "Oh yeah, we're doing whatever they're doing a run. You've got to finish, blah, blah, blah," all the usual stuff. Pete takes off his pants and we see he's got his sparkly underwear on.
Yeah.
And the Gribbles start to tease him. And James Gribble, the main Gribble Jr., he says, "You're in the wrong changing room, darling. Those sparkly underwear." Pete grabs Gribble, throws him at the wall so hard that Gribble's head goes through the wall and into the female changing rooms. And then Pete retorts with, "No, I think you're in the wrong changing room, darling." And then we get a shot from the female side, and they're like they put like clothes over Gribble's head so
like
you
a
can't
jumper
look at
or
them.
something,
Yeah, like a jumper or something. Kind of weird. This is a bit. It's kind of.
This is another. This
Carrie,
is
right?
Pardon?
It's like Carrie, the picking on somebody in the changing room.
Well, yeah,
I
I was just thinking, it was actually just a power fantasy again, because it was like that was one of the times when, like, if you were growing up in high school, obviously you'd be worried about getting changed because people seeing you basically naked, right?
Yeah.
And then someone would be like, "Oh, look at the sparkly pants." I mean, you could read into that if you wanted to, some sort of gay metaphor or whatever, or effeminate metaphor. Yeah. But I'm just going to go with the outcast metaphor because that recycles everything. Then it comes the power fantasy of wanting to push the kid through the other change room. All right. So that's what I think that was.
It's like in Carrie where they're picking on her in the change room. They're like throwing tampons at her and then like blood goes everywhere or something. Yeah. Because it's like a metaphor for her puberty. Yeah. Like this is a similar thing we got going on here. It's in the change rooms. It's to do with his genital areas.
The thing is, like, his ability to just get really strong and throw is like very much of what would happen as a young boy growing up because of the introduction of testosterone into your body. You'd be able to do a lot more.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're a lot stronger than you were 6 months ago. Yeah. And your voice breaks. And you're just... It's the start of the race. Pete's talking to Fiona. He says, "I'll run with you if you want." And Fiona, quite confident in her own abilities, says, "You can if you keep up." Yeah. So Gribble is behind, and he's looking at him a bit suspiciously. He's like, okay, we're going to get Twist. We're going to get Twist if that's the last thing we do. Pete and Fiona are running together. He says, "Oh, you want to go for a swim?" Yeah. And Fiona's like, "What are you talking about? Like, there's not enough time, blah, blah." He goes, "Oh, I'll run ahead. I'll meet you there. And we'll have a swim." And then he runs really fast. And then we get the first weird thing of the episode. Yeah. Oh, actually, like okay, I just want to address the slow motion they used. They used slow motion to convey that he's going fast, but he was in the same shot as Fiona. Yeah. And it didn't really look like he was running fast. It just like he was running slow. It's not until we meet the next people that Joe's going to bring up that we start to see, him being sped up. To be like, oh, so that's why he's running like that. We get our groovy Around the Twist music to transition, and then we get a... Yep. And Anthony was like, "What was that?" And he was like, "Oh, it's because there's Japanese people in the next shot." Because
they love casual racism on Around the Twist.
So there's some Japanese people that the senior Gribble is talking to. He's trying to get them to buy the lighthouse. Yeah. It's kind of his thing that he likes to do, trying to get people to buy the lighthouse. And they're taking photos. And he says something about like those entire cliffs filled with iron ore.
He does say that. And it's like, You don't have... What?
Yeah, he just makes things up. Pete's running really fast,
Yeah.
and the Japanese people are like, oh my goodness, like, this guy's running really fast, and they just start, like, taking photos
That's
of him.
very... It's even more racist.
It's pretty racist.
Yeah, it's like, that's the Japanese
doing
stereotype, right?
Doing their poses, taking photos of each other like tourists. These are Japanese businessmen.
Yeah.
And then Pete runs down to the water, jumps in, and starts swimming really fast and, like, diving up in the air like a dolphin.
Yeah.
The Japanese businessmen run down on the beach and start taking photos of
And every
each other.
time, and throughout it, they constantly have the sound... Hwah!
Yeah, like the sumo surprised sound.
Yeah.
And,
they're taking photos of the boy jumping in midair,
Yes.
taking photos of themselves, and it's like,
Yep.
it's a little weird.
There's-
I know the kid's supposed to be jumping in midair, but again, you're taking photos of, you're like giving the thumbs up,
Yeah.
and there's a boy, 14-year-old boy, wearing nothing but DTs in the background.
Up in the air. He's
well-
like jumping around like a dolphin.
Yeah, how do you...
pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, just as easily, you could be like, yeah, or... This is on a studio set, and this
Really
is what you're
creepy,
into.
yeah.
I mean, it's even more
So
creepy.
they take photos of one businessman in front of Pete, the other businessman in front of Pete,
all
Mr.
three
Gribble
of
in
them.
front of Pete, then all three of them.
And
It's
who's taking the photo?
Who's taking that photo?
They've got a random
Yeah.
passerby, or is they got like...
The Japanese businessmen, they're pretty amazed.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And Mr. Gribble's like, oh, the medicinal properties in this water, you'll definitely want to buy here. Like, if you go swimming in this water, it'll happen to you too. And Pete's undies have shrunk, and he's stopped swimming. Mm-hmm. And he's had to take his undies off because they've shrunk, and they're obviously causing him pain.
Yeah.
And we cut to Linda, who's talking to Fiona
Yeah.
as they're going down the stairs onto the beach. And Fiona's going, oh, I've heard that Hugh Townsend from a couple of weeks ago,
Good
who
old
is
Townsend.
some sort of local celebrity that Linda is obsessed with.
Yeah.
He's coming to the frog race, and Linda now wants to go. And Fiona's, typical. You love Hugh Townsend.
You love Townsend. We love Townsend too.
Pete's standing in the water,
Yeah.
and he's going, my undies have shrunk. He's shouting to Fiona and Linda. And they're going, oh, what? And he goes, oh, they've got really small. It's got really small. And they look at him,
Yeah.
and then they turn around, and then they run away.
No, they say something as well, don't they? They're like, hang on.
I don't know.
I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, no, okay, maybe it was. They were looking at each other, but it was so much like typical or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And they start running
And
away,
it
and
was
he's like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that.
It's like, I often read into some weird stuff in here, but it's like,
No, that was not
that was not
subtextual
subtextual. That was very obvious. And you know what's
Yeah.
weird about this show? It's
What?
one of those few kids shows that's like, yeah, boys have penises.
Yeah.
Every other one is like, do not talk about it. Do not mention it. This one is like,
Yeah.
yep, they have
It's
it. And they
clearly-
use it to fly.
Later on they do. Not in this episode, but they think that his penis has got small because of they think he's talking about the fact that his penis has got smaller because of the cold water.
Which is even weirder too, because it's like,
It's a weird thing.
It's a really
it's a
weird thing to put in
conversation to be
kids.
having, especially with your twin sister and her best friend.
yeah, oh, my dick's gotten smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
that's a
just weird.
weird
Weird all
conversation.
around.
Yep.
Gribble and Rabbit, they steal Pete's clothes, and
Yeah.
they're going, oh, somebody's left some clothes here. Look at this.
We better be honest citizens.
You know, let's take... And Pete's seeing them. He's
Yeah.
only standing a few meters away, and he's like, don't do it! They're my clothes! And they're like, oh, we better take these clothes. And they take them away, leaving Pete naked in the water.
Yeah.
Back at the school,
Yeah.
they're handing out an award to Fiona because she won the race. She came first. Pretty quick runner. Then they're giving the wooden spoon to Gribble, and Gribble says, oh, no, give it to Twist. He's not even back yet.
That's good monitoring by the teachers. So.
Yeah, and they're like, what? Have you seen Twist? To each other. And they go to look for Twist at the beach, and
Yeah.
he's hiding under the stairs, and he's still nude. He doesn't know what to do. He's trying to
Not very
get back
kid
to
safe.
school.
No.
Yeah, it's not kid safe at all. Linda is confirmed to be going into the frog race now because Hugh Townsend's going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Townsy.
We cut to the frog race, and Bronson's trying to get in, and he says, oh, I'll have half a ticket, please. And then Rabbit says to him, they're all halves, flea bite. What was this about?
I have no idea. I literally have no idea. Like, why is it I'll have half a ticket?
I don't really get it.
No, I don't get it either. Like, the flea bite, he's small, because you're small.
Yeah, flea bite was the small thing, but I don't know what the...
They're all half tickets, like, okay, then if they're all half tickets, aren't they just tickets then?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're just, I'll have a ticket.
I think that's what it was. Bronson was saying, oh, I'm only small, so I deserve half a ticket, and Rabbit was saying, yeah, we only sell tickets here, mate, we don't sell half tickets.
It's a lot cleverer then. Yeah.
It's still a bit. It was a bit
Still
hard
weird.
to follow. Tiger is running the books like a regular bookie.
Yeah.
He's taking odds. He's got a blackboard written with all the odds and all the frogs
Yeah.
and how much you putting on each one, etc. Bronson can't find Pete, so Loopy Leaper's not here because
Yeah.
Loopy is with Pete, and Pete obviously isn't there because he's naked on the beach.
Yeah.
Bronson puts 50 cents on Loopy Leaper, and
After being antagonized by
Tiger.
Tiger's like,
goes,
he's not even
"Oh!"
here. And he's like, he goes 51 on Loopy Leaper, and he's like, I'll go and put 50 cents on Loopy Leaper, which is, what, $25 if he wins?
Yeah, 50 to 1 odds, did you say?
Yeah, 51 odds.
50 cents on Loopy Leaper. Big spender, they say to Bronson. We see Pete, who's running along the side of the road with a hubcap covering his genitals.
Was it a hubcap? I thought it was like a trash can lid.
I thought it was a hubcap.
I'm going to go with a hubcap now, because I don't know
It was some
how
sort
many,
of metallic circular object.
I don't know how many bins you have in Australia.
We have wheelie bins here.
We do.
Gribble has Mugger.
Mugger, yep. Was that the big one or the small one? I can't remember.
It's a big frog. They're talking about it, but still in the.
It hasn't
the
been
box.
revealed what it
It
is.
hasn't been revealed in the box. There's this little nerd guy who knows a lot about frogs, and his frog is called Fredo, and he's talking about frogs. None of it was relevant. Tiger starts to ask Rabbit a few questions about frogs because he's interviewing everyone for Hugh Townsend, who is for some reason videoing this event.
Yeah.
And Rabbit says, "Oh, it's a frog," and Tiger says, "Can you tell us a bit more about it?" And he goes, "Oh, well, it's green. It's got 4 legs. Hops a lot."
I don't know. I thought like he was camera shy. Came off like he was
It
very.
was because he was dumb.
I thought it was.
dumb.
It looked when I saw it, I thought it was like he was really a camera shy kind of person, and he just didn't know what to say. Like that's the reaction it looked on his face.
What else are you going to say about frogs, though, honestly?
I don't know. It's a fast hopper, or it hops great distances, and it's my best friend, or something. I don't know.
Hugh Townsend is still videoing. Linda's, like, giving him
We still
some
don't even
looks.
know what Hugh Townsend does.
And I don't know. Hugh Townsend's a guy. He's some sort of local celebrity.
Corey?
Linda loves him. Corey?
You know Corey, the generic 80s guy?
No.
Like, okay, so the Coreys from the 80s who were like the teen heartthrobs.
I don't know.
I can't remember their names. Corey Hames and Corey somebody else. And then there were teen heartthrobs. But then if you wanted to have a teen heartthrob, you just call them Corey.
Okay.
Right? So, and all they do is be teen heartthrobs.
Okay. Well, Gribble is trying to sell a heritage building to the Japanese.
He's trying to sell...
It's heritage listed.
He's trying to sell a heritage-listed church.
Yeah.
And I think this is the part of the episode to remind people that Gribble is... Oh, by the way, Gribble's a bad guy. Because he's like, it's a heritage listed. We can gut it out and we'll put it in a cafe. And it's like, see, you're trying to gut out a heritage church. So remember that Gribble's... He's not such a good guy or something. That's what I read into that scene.
If we needed reminding.
Yeah, as if.
The Japanese are taking photos, and they turn around and they see Pete on the back of some sort of sculpture truck, and he's pretending to be a sculpture with the round metallic object covering his genitals, and they take lots of photos.
Just get weird. That's when it gets even weird, okay?
Yeah.
Seriously,
He's
it's like,
naked
okay,
here.
he's naked, and they're like, oh, there's some guy from the beach. Click, 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 and it's like, that's a nude boy, basically. Very weird. And then it's still, they have the thing where the three of them are in the photo again.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you want this, Mr. Gribble?
Yeah.
Because do you want evidence that you're associated with this? It's like, you could get arrested for this, man.
He could.
Yeah.
Underage people being nude in photos.
It's pretty illegal.
It's pretty illegal.
Pretty fucked up. I mean,
Back at the frog race,
yeah.
Mugger has been revealed, and all the frogs are down. Mugger's been revealed. It's a toad. They say, Gribble, is that a frog? And he goes, oh yeah, it's a frog, mate. And then as if to find the best available judge, they turn to Rabbit and say, is this a frog, Rabbit? And he goes, well, it's got 4 legs. It's green.
It's not really green, though.
It's a frog.
It was brown.
He says it's a frog.
It's weird, though.
It's confirmed to be a frog by the judge, Rabbit.
He's got a degree in...
So they're
frogology.
off, and Tiger's really excited. He's spewing out lots of commentary, but nothing is happening.
Yeah.
The frogs don't move.
It's kind of like cricket.
Exactly like
It's
cricket.
exactly like cricket.
Linda's trying to talk to Hugh Townsend, and he's not interested at all. Is this some sort of other metaphor about puberty?
Yeah, probably. Don't know what it is, though. It's the girl selling out her convictions to get with the popular boy.
Pete.
So she says that she loves photography. She doesn't love photography.
Yeah, Pete Twist is running around town, and he runs past some guys that are doing high jump or something.
One guy with a nice mullet.
He's got a massive mullet, and he goes to Pete. Oh, don't go to any barbecues, mate. It could be quite lethal. because of his sausage.
Yeah. Oh, there you go, bumping the thing, eh? Bumping our sound equipment.
Back at the frog race, there's still no Pete. He hasn't shown up. The frogs aren't moving because, according to the guy that owns Fredo the frog, there's no humidity, so the frogs won't move.
Yep.
So they start using a hose,
which makes sense. I guess
they wet all the frogs, and the frogs start to move around. Everyone's excited. They're all cheering, and Mugger is about to win.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden he changes direction.
Yeah.
And so giant Mugger, the toad,
yeah,
turns direction and starts eating the small green frogs that the rest of the frogs are.
Yeah.
The crowd's in shock. Everyone's like getting upset. There's people crying. He's eating everything. And then Pete arrives.
Yeah.
And he's got Loopy the frog. All the other frogs have been eaten. Mugger's about to win. He's about to cross the line. And Pete comes in and he puts Loopy into the race. And Bronson's going, "Don't do it, Pete. Loopy's going to die. Don't do it." And so Mugger's about to eat Loopy. But what do we see?
What happens? He's got
Loopy Leap.
The underpants.
The underpants on, which have shrunk so small that you can put them on a green frog. And Mugger leaps towards Loopy, and Loopy jumps up. And he jumps up
like a bullet.
So high, it bursts through the tin roof of the shed, wherever they are. And it goes up, and it starts like flying around. And it's flying around, and it goes up to this plane that just so happens to have the Japanese businessmen on it. Don't know how they got on it so quick.
The Qantas plane.
On the Qantas plane.
Yeah.
And it starts flying around, like doing circles around the plane.
Trying to get the attention.
And the businessmen start taking their photos again.
It's a bit like Alan Joyce trying to get foreign investors into Qantas. Dancing around.
Exactly like that.
Exactly like that.
It's flying around, and then back down. Apparently, Tiger can still see the frog, and it's going into orbit. And then the frog flies up, and it goes up, and it starts orbiting around the moon, and then it goes up really high, and it looks really weird, right?
Yeah.
The frog is basically like a still of a frog in a jumping position that they've moved around the screen.
It's pretty funny.
The
green screen on it was really bad too.
Blue screen. Yeah, green screen is digital.
Okay, blue screen. It was a bad blue screen.
Yeah, we used
at times there was like it was like that weird thing when like you don't have the right color, or the colors sort of bled a little. So like there was like patches where like the frog was not seen. Yeah. So I was like, wow, that's
green
really bad.
Green screen wouldn't have worked on a frog anyway
because he's green,
for obvious reasons. Yeah. So the frog comes back in and it smashes through the roof on a re-entry and lands on the ground and smashes into Mugger, exploding Mugger into pieces over the crowd.
Yeah.
Whenever there's competition with these kids, something always explodes and gets over everyone.
Yeah, that's
just some sort of metaphor for something.
I don't know, puberty.
Stuff explodes.
Yeah, stuff does explode during puberty. I mean, just like the obvious.
Like what?
Like, well, I don't know, like your pimples.
Okay.
And we know what else.
What else, Anthony?
I don't know. What else, Joe?
I don't know. I'm asking you. You seem to know what else explodes.
I seem to know a lot about puberty because I'm a puberty specialist.
You're a puberty specialist.
I'm a puberty.
What does that involve, being a puberty specialist?
Knowing a lot about puberty.
What?
Knowing a lot about puberty.
What do you have to do to become a puberty specialist?
You just have to know a lot about puberty.
Do you have to go through puberty to be a puberty specialist? Can you be a prepubescent puberty specialist?
You could be, but there aren't many.
There aren't many.
You know? There's a convention I went to last week, and there was only like 100 people there, apparently. They were all like old fat guys, though. It was really weird.
Okay, let's not... I don't want to hear anymore.
Well, you wanted to hear about what explodes during puberty, all right?
What does?
All right, what does?
This seems to be...
Your mind explodes during puberty.
A good one.
That's
a
what
good
it
one.
Does, yeah.
So the Mugger has exploded, and Pete's being interviewed by Hugh Townsend, and he says, once we smooth out those landings, Loopy will beat the pants of anyone because he's still wearing the underpants. Yeah. And that's the end of the episode.
Performance-enhancing drugs, too?
Yeah.
Is that legal?
You think that's what they're getting at here?
Performance-enhancing clothes, maybe. Like
performance-enhancing.
Like, Ian Thorpe's, what's his name? His skin suit in the 2000s, or even anything like that.
You think this was more prophetic wisdom from Paul Jennings?
Well, more like, I'm sure there's other, like, maybe okay, so this is a big stretch, but it's around about a couple of years just after the Australians won the US bloody sailing ship race.
That was in, like, 89.
Yeah, right. And so, the reason, like, everyone was complaining, because of that keel, or whatever. Yeah. That newfangled, new technology. It was like, that was unsportsmanlike. So what happens, I don't know, maybe it's something similar, like the big bad American basically kills all the other sailors, and then comes Australia with its new fancy pants technology. You know, it's maybe the way of the future. Maybe Paul Jennings was saying something like that. Remember, it's Paul Jennings, the character in my novel. Paul Jennings, not Pearl Jennings, the writer.
Talking about that race, what race? The America's Cup?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a really good Australian film called The Mule.
Yeah.
It came out at the end of last year, and it's set during the America's Cup. It's about this guy who becomes a drug mule.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Okay.
Really good.
There you go. So watch that.
Check out that. Support Australian movies.
Yeah, why not?
Any other comments about the episode as large?
Not really. I mean, it was okay.
There wasn't a lot to read into other than the puberty stuff.
It was very
like the carry
very,
level stuff.
Yeah, it was like there was that as obvious metaphors of puberty, but I mean, aside from that, no, it was pretty straightforward. It was an alright episode. I mean,
Yep. How many plates of spaghetti? Bowls. How many bowls?
6. Maybe
6 bowls of spaghetti.
Yeah, a side order of buffalo wings.
Buffalo wings.
Yeah, buffalo wings.
That's not very Italian.
Whatever. It's bloody Domino's, man. I'm going to Domino's today.
Are you going to Domino's today?
No.
Oh.
They do pasta. I don't want to do pasta. I want to do something else. Hey, there's a
What?
kid coming. What the hell? Stay away from my car. Yeah, you better run, punk. Anyway, yeah, I just give it 6 bowls of spaghetti. What do you give it?
Probably about the same.
Yeah.
Probably 6.5 bowls of spaghetti, and
Any salad?
I don't know. I'll throw in a garden salad again.
Okay, cool. All right.
Parmesan on top.
Parmesan on your garden salad.
No.
Okay. Spaghetti.
Yeah, on the spaghetti.
I'm not totally
I think I'm going to
against.
go crazy and have ranch dressing on the salad this time.
It's not crazy. It's really good. I love ranch dressing.
Yeah, but traditionally, if you're having Italian, you would have like
have to
some
follow
sort of
traditions.
vinaigrette.
It's called fusion.
It's
called fusion, bro.
That's what I'm saying. My rating system: 6.5 bowls with a garden salad with ranch on.
All right, fair enough. All right, and I'm just 6 bowls because I'm not
With
interested in
buffalo
it.
wings.
Yeah, buffalo wings. Actually, I was gonna have that. Yeah, why not? Buffalo.
A little
wings.
bit of a twist.
Twist, just like this show.
Anything else? Anything else you wanted to talk about the episode?
Not in the episode, but
you're keen to tell me about your lunch. I can tell.
yeah.
One of the things we like to do on Tales from the Twist is check in with Anthony and see what he had for lunch on the day of recording.
Well, my mother came around.
Yeah.
As she does. We had a business meeting.
Yeah.
All right. And she brought some salads. Well, they were okay from Coles, but they like pre-made salads.
What salads?
I don't know. I can't remember what one was, but it was like it wasn't good. Like they gave me the worst parts of the lettuce. You know the stalky part of the lettuce, like the head at the stalk of the lettuce. They're like, yeah, you know what? We'll throw that in as well. I'm like, I'm picking through my lettuce, and I'm like, I got at least 7 or 8 stalk heads. And I'm like, I'm not gonna. Who eats this? Who wants to eat any of that?
You know those like leaf mixes that they put out?
Yeah.
I don't like them because it's like weed.
Well, apparently my wife tells me that because like there was this
spinach
Italian.
leaf.
Right.
Spinach is alright.
Italian guy was working exchange sort of work thing at her work for a little while.
Yeah.
Apparently, rocket leaves, they're like weeds that grow in like
they are.
on the side of the road in Italy. So he's like, he doesn't understand why people bag them up and like sell them for $5. I don't like rocket either. What's wrong? Why do people want to eat rocket all the time?
All that mescaline as well. I used to work in a restaurant. You don't want to eat that. It's gross. That stuff is gross.
Yeah. Don't eat that. So I ate a salad. There you go.
Yeah, if you're going to have a salad, have like some iceberg lettuce or maybe cos.
Any cos or
It's
butter
expensive.
or
It's nice.
or any butter. You never heard of butter cabbage? But butter lettuce.
Not
It's like a
really.
long, thin leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cos lettuce is probably the best. It's
Probably.
my favourite. Social media?
Yep. We're finally on Twitter. Follow us at TFTT. Sorry, so TFT Twists.
Yep.
Follow us there, and always subscribe to our iTunes.
And that's all for this week.
All right.
Thank you for listening. My name's Shay Lewis.
And I'm Anthony Bull.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.